You see, before I came into the truth, right, I had never heard any of this stuff. Like, I was never indoctrinated. No one ever came to me and started talking to me about all the things that I know now. No one ever introduced to me the fact that the people that were on the Atlantic slave trade were the true Hebrews. No one ever came to me and said to me, oh, you know, the true Hebrews are actually melanated. You know, the true Hebrews are actually melanated. You know, the true Hebrews are actually melanated. Like, none of that. I'd never heard any of that in my entire life.
You think they mean us?
Berean Scholar. Berean Scholar. Berean Scholar.
Waking up the people of the Most High. I got the knowledge to destroy the lies. DNA history, open eyes. Walk into the darkness and turn on the lights. Wake up, 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 wake up.
Hey guys, how many of you may remember that Richard Pryor had a TV show? Look at this.
Professor! I got it open! Good heavens, man! Great Scott, we've discovered the fountain of all knowledge of Egypt in the entire world. Do you realize the importance of this moment, Smedley?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you see the brilliancy? The untold years.
I see it, sir.
Sorry. This is medicine. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. You slide. Look! What is this?
See. Says, cannot. This is the elixir of life, sir.
The elixir of life?
The cure for all diseases. Wait, see here. Wait,
give it to me.
An inscription on the bottom.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Open at other end.
This can't be, man. What? You know what this is? What is it, Buddha? It's the book of life. Book of life? In the beginning, when man arrived on Earth, the black gods did leave their spacecraft, and they walked, and they named the beast of the sea and the animals of the land. Heavens. And man in his blackness did walk the earth, making medicine. Medicine? They discovered time. These were all black people got down. Wait a minute. Yeah. There ain't nothing in here about whitey. This is ours. Wait till the brothers hear this. Buddha. I'm gonna get this book out of here, baby. This tells me real tea. Buddha, control yourself, don't you see? What you mean, Jack? Look at this here. Black people started the music and the brain surgery back in the year 3 BC. Yes, of course, Buddha. Man, they was getting down. This is it, brother. Yes, everybody gonna know about this. Listen, we can change the history. Civilization will be changed. Yeah, this is gonna be it. Get the bulldozers, there's nothing here. But. Shut up! Good heavens, time for tea, eh? What?
Although this is just a comedy show, it's so true. So true. Most historian people whose job is to tell the truth keep those things they don't want you to see in the darkness. They bury it, they hide it. Egyptologists, archaeologists, all the so-called authorities don't want you to see what's really true. I was watching a Christian documentary and I saw something that blew me away because I knew the truth. Watch how they hide what they don't want you to see.
As Layard's excavation crew were uncovering this huge palace, they found its central courtyard, and they dug to the front of the courtyard where they unearthed these two huge human-headed winged bulls that were side by side. And as they uncovered them, they realized that they were guarding the entrance to something that further excavation showed was a monumental hallway. On the wall to the right of the showroom's entrance was a stone relief showing an Assyrian king sitting on a throne on top of a hill, watching the battle for the city. Above and to the
Aha, right there. Look at that right there. That is one of many depictions of the Israelites, the true Israelites that's in this display throughout the walls. They're not going to point this out, but look at his hair. Look at his beard.
left of the enthroned king was a short cuneiform inscription. It read, Sennacherib, the mighty king, king of the country of Assyria, sitting on the throne of judgment before the city of Lachish. So keep in mind that, yes, they found the name Sennacherib engraved in stone, but this would have been meaningless except for the fact that Sennacherib is found in the Bible as the name of the Assyrian king whose capital is Nineveh. The inscription on the Taylor prism could now also be read, and was an inscription of none other than Sennacherib himself. On it, Sennacherib says, As to Hezekiah the Jew, he did not submit to my yoke. I laid siege to 46 of his strong cities, walled forts, and to the countless small villages in their vicinity, and conquered them. Notice that Hezekiah, the king of Judah in the Bible, is named by Sennacherib. This event is also recorded in the Bible. Isaiah chapter 36 says, In the 14th year of King Hezekiah's reign, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, attacked all the fortified cities of Judah and captured them. This is the specific area on the ground that is being depicted in the stone pictures that we have from Sennacherib's palace in Nineveh. This is where the people above are fighting for their lives, for their very existence, and where the Assyrians with their huge siege engines are assaulting this wall. Archaeologically, all the things that you see depicted in the stone reliefs that are being thrown down from the walls, the arrowheads, the sling stones, all that was found by the masses in this particular area.
In this 15-minute documentary, they had no evidence that shows you the people who lived in Judah. They showed you the Syrian, they showed you King Sennacherib. They showed you everything else, but they only showed a small part of this display. Remember, the Lachish Relief is a whole room, a wall lined with different pictures and images.
If you think about it geographically, Egypt is in the south. Over in the east, in Mesopotamia, was the ancient empire of Assyria. And that's where these reliefs are from, Assyria. Sandwiched in the middle of Assyria, which is now modern-day Iraq, and Egypt was Israel, the nation of Israel. So now they're kind of in the middle of a lot of controversy, and then they were too. Now, there was supposed to be something special about this nation of Israel. Does anyone know what that was? They were supposed to represent their God to the other nations of the world. Maybe we've heard the phrase children of Israel before or something like that. Well, Sennacherib, meanwhile, is the king of Assyria in 700 BC. And just like great kings, he wants to grow his empire. He wants to conquer the nations around him. So that's exactly what he starts doing. He starts conquering nations around Assyria. And finally, he's very successful and he ends up at Israel. Now, he's excited about the idea of conquering Israel because not only does it mean that he's stronger than Israel as a nation, but it also means if he's able to conquer them, that he's stronger than Israel's God. So that was his goal. But how do you capture an ancient empire? Well, you have to take what city?
The capital.
The capital, exactly. And does anyone know what the capital of ancient Israel was?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Exactly. So Sennacherib's goal is to get Jerusalem. Is to capture Jerusalem. Well, he begins his invasion and his conquest, and he takes 45 cities until he gets to Lachish, which is the final city to take on his way to Jerusalem. This is the last stop, and these reliefs tell the story or depict what happened at the Battle of Lachish. All right? So let's go and look and see what an ancient battle looks like, all right? If you look right here, you can see the Assyrian soldiers. These are the slingers with the sling and the stone, long distance warfare. Then you see the rows of archers coming along for long distance. And as we move down the line, getting closer to the city of Lachish, we see some infantrymen with spears and shields coming on, advancing on the city, okay? And then we see siege ramps that have been built, and they're marching up siege ramps. Now, in ancient times, the way that they would protect cities was by building walls around it, right? And so the way to take a city that's got a wall around it is you have to get over the wall somehow, so they build these ramps. They probably weren't actually this steep, but they did it for the relief so that they could fit more on it. So you can see soldiers, Assyrians, invading, trying to come up the siege ramps, and meanwhile, torches and stones are being thrown down by the people from Lachish to try to defend the city. You see some other defenders and archers in this tower right here from Lachish. So this is a peek into an ancient battle scene. As good as it gets, high definition. Now let's look down here. You can come a little closer. Let's look down here. Somebody tell me what you see right here.
I see slaves.
Slaves, yeah, you see some people there. But what we see is two soldiers, and they've got poles, and on top of those poles are dead people. Basically, they are human shish kebabs, because the Assyrians were notorious for their cruel practices. They wouldn't just kill you, because that's too humane. They would torture you first and make sure you die a slow, painful, and exemplary death to the rest of your comrades, because they specialize on intimidation. They did these cruel tactics in order to intimidate their enemies so that they would melt with fear as soon as they heard that the Assyrians were coming to town. I think I would be pretty scared too. Well, let's keep moving down the line. So they've gotten over the city walls, and now they've captured the city, and they're taking their plunder. They're taking their plunder. So we've got a cart and some soldiers right here, and they've got their candles. They've got some valuables that they're stealing from the city. They've got candlesticks, and they've got other valuable objects, but not only objects, they've got valuable human resources, slaves. You can see a mother and a child being carted off into slavery, into exile right here in Lachish. All right, so if you want to come to the corner, we have a chair right here, but maybe some of you can see. Tell me what you see right here in this area. Anybody see? Tell me what's going on here. Yeah, you've got the soldiers are laying out two men, and if you look carefully at their legs, you see lines on their legs. Those are exposed muscles and tendons. Because like we said, the Assyrians wouldn't just kill you, they'd torture you first. So they'd ripped off the flesh of these men to help them die in a more painful way. And also in order to intimidate their enemies. They were brutal. So let's continue down the line. We've got more slaves that are leaving the city. Now somebody tell me the difference between this guy and this guy. Whose side do you think this guy's on? The Assyrians, yeah, the conquerors, the Assyrians. And whose side do you think this guy's on? The slave, yeah, the people from Israel or Lachish. You can tell also by their distinctive hairstyle depicted in archaeology. All right? Now as we come down the line, you see the slaves are being forced to bow down or pay homage to King Sennacherib himself, who's sitting on his throne and he's being fanned. And behind him is basically objects representing the glory and splendor of the empire of Assyria. We see all things that are supposed to depict greatness and plenty. We got olive branches, olive trees and palm branches, and all sorts of things like that to show that his empire is a great empire. Now, if you'll follow me right over here to this glass display case, the story isn't quite over yet. Because what was Sennacherib's ultimate goal? To take Jerusalem, exactly, because these are commemorating the astounding victory at Lachish, the last stop before Jerusalem. So Sennacherib goes with his troops and surrounds the city of Jerusalem with his 185,000 troops. But of course they're not going to fight yet because the Assyrians are going to intimidate a little bit first. So they start calling out to the people of Jerusalem, "Hey, don't listen to your king Hezekiah. He can't help you. Oh, and by the way, don't listen to your God, he can't help you either. Where are all the gods of these nations that we drove out before you? So you might as well go ahead and surrender now, or we're just going to make sure that you die a very slow and painful death. Now you can imagine. Imagine how would you feel about hearing something like that? They just conquered 46 cities and they're knocking at your doorstep with some intimidating threats like that. I think I would be pretty afraid. Even more afraid than that. So King Hezekiah hears this report and he's traumatized, but then he goes and he prays to his God. And he says, God, we're supposed to represent you to all the nations. And so please help save us. Please save us today so that all the nations of the earth may know that you are God and there is no other. Well, this cylinder right here is a replica of the real one we're going to see upstairs in just a moment. But here is Sennacherib's side of the story. Sennacherib on this cylinder says that he went through Israel and conquered 46 cities and locked up Hezekiah in Jerusalem like a bird in a cage. Why did he stop there? The morning after Hezekiah's prayers, his 185,000 troops were found dead. You decide how they died, but I can tell you it wasn't by Israelite soldiers.
Hallelujah. The morning after King Hezekiah prayed, the great army was found dead. You know why? Great and mighty is Yah. But yet and still, when they show this relief, they don't show the whole truth. The Lachish Relief has been on display for a long time. You notice how they don't show you the images up close of the people of Lachish, which are Judeans? Representation of what the people of Judah look like? They don't show you that. So let's listen to Brother Benaiah Israel take you through the Lachish Relief and show you how we look. And remember, those people who don't believe who you are, show them this.
You know that we like to use the British Museum. So in the British Museum, in the Lachish Relief that's in the British Museum, that's where you'll find the first-hand representation of the Israelites during that time, because the Lachish Relief, the King Sennacherib he's coming against Jerusalem, but on his way to Jerusalem, he stops off at the city of Lachish, which is the city that he comes to that right before Jerusalem. So it's a neighboring city. And as he's going there and he's conquering Lachish, he doesn't quite make it to Jerusalem because the Most High intervenes. So he ends up going back to Assyria. And once he gets back there, they make this stone relief depicting or representing Israel and the whole conquest of the city of Lachish. And in this stone, I guess you can call it like a monument or something like that, but you'll find multiple depictions of Israel throughout this relief, right? Multiple depictions. And the easiest way to find it is just type in British Museum, Lachish Relief, and just make sure when you go into the British Museum, just look for museum number 124911. That's 124911. It's kind of like an exhibit number, right? So just look for that number. Once you find that, family, it'll take you to this page, and at the very bottom you'll see these little icons or tiles at the very bottom. Just select the fourth tile from the left, click on that, and it'll take you to the part in the relief where it shows the children of Israel, right? And again, if you take a look at this, family, and just compare this to, what's in the movie, you can see when it takes a look at the beard, it's somewhat accurate, right? That's why I say it's somewhat accurate, because back then the hair was a lot shorter, right? The hair was a lot shorter. So in these depictions, when they have, long hair, because his hair is pretty long compared to what's on the relief. But it's a little bit better than Cesar Borgia, right? It's not that long, thin, flowing hair that you get. It's more of a tight, woolly, nappy hair, so to speak. So that's what depicts Judah. And then let me show you some of these other pictures, fam. Let me see if I can switch over to my, there we go. All right, so hopefully you can see that. So this is just another snapshot or picture of the relief. And so you can see this is like a corner shot. And if we zoom in, you'll see some of the same pictures we saw before, but you'll get a little bit more on the bottom left-hand side, right? So you'll see, this is, Judah going into captivity, right? Got his hands up. And this is specifically Judah. And that's what I like to tell people. I like to tell them, it's like, this is specifically Judah, right? This is in the territory of Judah. So when you see people running around today and they don't look like the people that's depicted in the Lachish relief, there's a problem, family. There's a problem. And in this picture here, family, you can see, you might not be able to tell what's going on, but they're supposed to be tossing the bodies of Judah the Israelites over the wall to be killed. So this is Judah, family. This is Judah. But let me come out of here. Let me see if I can go to another picture. And that's the relief there. All right. So what I did, family, was I took the Lachish relief and I tried to run it through AI. And I had AI to try to create a photorealistic depiction of Judah based on these pictures, right? So you see these pictures? So I pointed AI to this and say, hey, this is what Judah's depicted as on the Lachish relief. So AI, what would Judah look like based off of this depiction? And this is what this is what the AI engine came back with. This is it, family. This is what Judah would look like if those pictures were brought to life by AI. All right. And let's go through a couple of these different pictures, right? So as you can see, these are the most accurate depictions of Judah based on the Lachish relief. So if you were to make a photorealistic or movie of Judah today, this is what Judah would look like. This is what Judah would look like. And let me just move my screen around here, fam. This is another picture. All right, see, these are all AI generated pictures based off of the Lachish relief. Based off of the Lachish relief. So if you were to make a movie and you wanted it to be accurate, this is what the children of Israel would look like. But this is it. This is it, family. When you see in the Lachish relief and you saw Judah and they had their hands up, this is what they would look like if they were brought to life. Somebody said, my granddaddy. Yeah, they look like a lot of our forefathers in here. Yeah, when these AI tools, family, when they're able to do stuff like this, analyze the Lachish relief, and then to pull out the figures in there and make them photorealistic. I mean, this thing is amazing. Check this out, family. The Lachish relief brought to life.
The truth is rising again. We now know what the world tried to hide: his color, his name, his culture, his people, and your identity. This awakening isn't just information, it's a transformation. It's a calling, it's destiny. The people the world cast down are the very people Yahweh has lifted up as his chosen. As Deuteronomy 7:6 states, "For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth." And Amos 3:1-2 reminds us, "Hear this word that the Most High spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth." Being chosen isn't comfort, it's an inheritance of bloodline. It's a calling, it's a responsibility, a divine summit by the Most High. The world is now being forced to confront this long-hidden truth. The children of the slave trade are the children of Israel. The question isn't who are the chosen, but now that you know who you are, will you rise to the responsibility of being chosen?
What do you think about this topic? Remember to be a Berean scholar, as it is written in the book of Acts 17 verses 11 to 12. Now the Bereans were more noble-minded than the Thessalonians, for they received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day to see if these teachings were true. It's time to deepen your understanding and see your reflection in the sacred pages. Please click subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay up to date with the Berean Scholar channel.